Welcome everyone to our Committee of the Whole meeting for July 12th. In attendance at today's meeting is Councillor Link from Ward 1, Councillor Bussetti from Ward 2, and Councillor Parag from Ward 4. Our Councillor Kleiber from Ward 3 will not be in attendance today, as per the Provincial Appeals Director ruling of May 27th, 2022, and Resolution 2022-204. Councillor Kleiber is suspended from council until July 14th, 2022, and pending completion of sanctions for various code of conduct violations, including section 6.1A, 6.1D, 7.4A, 7.5A, 7.5D, 7.5D, and section 152.3 and 83.1D of the Municipal Act for breach of confidential information. Joining us as well is our CAO Brent Alnick and our MLO Ms. Shaw. We have no resolutions to open up our meeting as no decisions are made at Committee of the Whole meetings. So we will begin with our first item on the agenda. We're pleased this afternoon to have Sergeant McCachran joining us today from the East St. Paul Detachment with the policing reports from April to June. Ms. Shaw, do we have Sergeant McCachran on the line?
Yes, we do. I'll just promote him to the panel. One moment.
Sergeant McCachran, can you hear us okay?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
It's breaking up a lot. I don't know if you can hear us okay.
Sorry,
but
it's bad cell coverage over here.
You had this balloon sound going on.
Can you make me out or no?
That might be better.
Yeah, I can hear you guys fine.
Good. Welcome.
I'll move my phone. Hey. Hey. So, can you hear me?
I think we lost you again.
I can hear you guys.
Yeah, I could suggest that perhaps, Sergeant, if you just, turn your video off if there's a poor internet connection, that sometimes help with the call quality.
Okay, my video's off. Can you hear me now?
Much better.
Okay, so I'm filling in for Sergeant Daryl Catelier. He's off for extended leave, so I was asked to fill in for him. So you guys have my report in front of you, I believe. So the numbers are pretty consistent from last year's numbers. Mental Health Act went up a little bit to 15. Uttering threats went up a little bit as well. But overall, it's all pretty consistent from last year. I also gave you guys the patrol log. I don't know if you guys have that with you or not. What the patrol log is, it's just, we do set points in our GPSs on our vehicles just to keep track of where patrols are being done. If people are complaining, hey, there's no patrols in my area, we can go back to the logs and see how many times guys have gone by certain points. So you can see the patrol log there. It has all the RMs in there. Yeah, so you have any questions for me?
I don't think we have the patrol log here. Ms. Shaw, do you have that to be able to put up on screen at all for council?
Yes, I can certainly share that. One moment.
Thank you. While Ms. Shaw is doing that, we can go around and see if there are questions for you. Councillor Parag, I'll start with you this time. Any questions for Sergeant McCachran?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bussetti, any questions?
Yeah, just wondering, on your regular patrols, do you go through like into businesses area, like lots and that kind of stuff at sporadic, different times? I just had a couple of businesses down Capitalist and another one farther down here on Main Street, that there's been consistent, I guess, vandalism and small theft out of the yards, that kind of stuff throughout the night. And it's just, I guess, getting more consistent. So I'm just wondering if you actually randomly drive through different businesses down Capitalist, that kind of stuff, just through their parking lots.
Yes.
Okay.
Councilor Steady. Councilor Link, any questions?
Yeah, we try to patrol everywhere. I'm familiar with the issues on Capitalist right now. I know there's one in particular that it's a landlord tenant dispute that's going on.
You're not coming through so good for me.
I can't really hear either.
Come down tonight.
Not sure if there's
Sorry, can you hear me?
a way to log out and log back in and see if that makes a difference. Sergeant McCachran, to see
Yeah,
where
so we do patrols of
you're
all
saying
the
it's really broken up.
areas. We go through the businesses. We try to be seen as much
We're not
as
able to hear anything
possible.
from you at all. Maybe if we'll try logging out and log back in.
Yeah, the issue is coming from the sources in their area. That's where
Yeah.
he's not coming in good.
Yeah.
We've checked out all our stuff here, and it's not from our end.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. We'll see if he logs out and back in, if that makes a difference. Ms. Shaw, can we get you just to blow that up a little bit on screen on the West St. Paul? Thank you. Just so we can see that. This is always good information because this is the GPS that the sergeant was talking about that's located throughout the community and tracks where they're gone. So they're having a presence in our community. Grassmere number 9, with all the construction there, 311 times at least they've been in that area. Rivercrest Hotel in front there, 122 between April and June. So these are good stats. I'm sure they come through more often than this, but at least it shows that they're making a presence in our community and they are visible, important. Grassmere and Highway number 8, an area where there's many accidents, 229 that their GPS has tracked through there. Pipeline and Toshak 43. So this is good information. St. Paul's Boulevard, our business park, 66 times that their GPS has tracked. So that's really good. We'll see if we can get the sergeant back on.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Much better, much better.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
That's okay. That's much better. So we'll try that again. Councillor Braccetti was asking about Capitalist and the businesses there. So I'll pass that back to you again. We couldn't hear anything of what you were saying there. So we'll start again.
Yeah, so we do patrols through all the businesses as much as we can. I'm familiar with the few instances on Capitalist Drive as well. So we're doing extra patrols in that area. We're just limited with resources, so we try to cover as much area as possible. The guys are out there. They've written quite a few tickets. 216 tickets were written this last period. There was also another 105 warnings handed out as well during the first 3 months of this period. So the guys are out there. They're pulling vehicles over. They're trying to be seen. They're doing the best that they can at this point. But I know when people are out there doing these break-ins and stuff, you know, if they see lights coming in that, they hide, they duck, they just keep driving or whatever, right? So we are trying to do our best, and we do as many patrols as possible.
Go ahead, Councillor Bussetti.
Well, I had one resident, or one of the business guys it was actually guys walking down the highway at 2 o'clock in the morning. They got backpacks on their back. Like, it's that kind of stuff. I don't know, is there a way to like check these guys? You know what they're doing at 2 in the morning. They got backpacks on their back, full of tools, whatever they need to do. They're not out to any good, is what I'm getting at. And that's where it's
for sure. So when people see that, we rely on them to call that in because, like I said, we can't be everywhere at once. So those are definitely people that we do stop and check and talk to.
Okay, that's good to know. So if they just called something like that in, it's just, they're up to no good. We all know it, so.
Yeah, no, we get a lot of suspicious people calls, and we do the patrols and try to locate them and find out what they're up to.
Councillor Link, thanks. Any questions for the sergeant?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just noticed that the false alarms have doubled. That's too bad, because that is a waste of your time, is it not? Or is there some value discovered in those?
Well, no, because it is just false alarms, but we do check it out because you never know, right? We go there and that's when we determine whether it's legit or not, right? So at least people's alarms are working, which is good. They may go off false, but you know, at least it gets us out in the areas and we get those extra patrols in.
Thank you. Good to know. They're viewed as extra patrols. That's good.
No questions from me. What maybe one. I'd just like to thank you guys for the work you do. And one question, Councillor Bussetti and I encountered an individual that was lost, and it probably comes under your mental health record here of helping someone and taking them into the city. So I just want to say that we've had firsthand contact with you guys, and we really appreciate what you do in the community, and work like that's really important. So I'm hoping that ended up well, but it was really positive to see you guys respond really quickly and help somebody and take them into the city to a shelter or wherever that ended up. And so we had firsthand contact with you guys, and we're really, really pleased.
And you can call me anytime, you know, if you guys just want to discuss anything that's on your mind. It doesn't have to be criminal or whatever. If you just want to discuss stuff or bring stuff to our attention, we're always here. You can reach out to us anytime.
Great, thanks. We appreciate the visibility in the community of your guys, and to see that the GPS, and if I'm not mistaken, you're part of our community as well in here. So we really appreciate that. It makes a difference when you're here and can keep us all safe. And we like to see, you know, we often get comments from residents about what crime looks like, and we've got development. And these reports help us go back to residents and say, we've been stable at the same rates of crime for years and years. And the data that you guys collect help us with that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's nice to see that it's not jumping up. That's really good. It's a safe neighborhood. That's why I love living there. I've been there for 13, 14 years now. So I enjoy it.
Well, thanks so much, and thanks for all that you guys do for our community. We really appreciate that. Thanks for your report. Residents have access to that. That's online, and we really appreciate you guys coming in. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
All right, we will keep working through our agenda. We have 4.41 municipal custom service phone options. And so our information report is on there that council's had the opportunity to see. Just open that up. Municipal offices are greeted with automated answering service. And so Mayor advised admin of comments received about lengthy recorded messages and some frustration. And so like many businesses, for efficiency, you would call and have to connect, press 1 for the different departments. And so callers now get a short greeting and then are sent on. So Mr. CEO, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add to that, but I'm quite pleased to see this. It's consistent with our strategic plan on superior service. So that's great.
No, I just, I want to give kudos to, you mentioned to myself, Mayor Christian, that there used to be a whole set of numbers you would go and you didn't think, you know, if customer service is the name of our game, if we could do something. I went to the staff and the staff came back and they've got a shortened version of that. So we don't have customers, residents on the phone waiting to go through a whole long menu of numbers to press.
Thank you for that. We've got great staff here and people need to speak to them right away. So I like to see that. Any questions from council regarding that change? Okay, thank you. 4.42 Exchange Group Auditors Report on the 2021 Federal Gas Tax Revenue Annual Expenditure Report. Get a bit of a mouthful there. Sorry about that. And so we have the report attached there. Mr. CEO, is there anything additional that you're wanting to add for council?
No, this is a report that comes through from the auditor that we use when we submit for gas tax and that. So kind of a regular thing that we do with them.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Any questions from council regarding this? Go ahead, Councillor Link.
I don't recall seeing an audit about the gas tax revenue before. Is that new? I know the gas tax fund has been renamed. I just can't recall the name of it. But I think there was some new regulations put in place. Am I correct or not?
Oh, I'm not aware of anything new. This is something that we've done in the past.
Oh, okay. I just don't recall seeing an audit of the gas tax. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, then I'll move on. 4.43 Manitoba Municipal Relations Financial Support for Road Construction and Rehabilitation. And we've got their letter regarding that attached to our CAO, that they've established a fund of $15 million to provide municipalities with financial support for road reconstruction, rehabilitation, and preservation projects, including repair and filling pothole and road cavities, which is great news. One-time funding allocated to municipalities on a per capita basis. And it is in recognition of the extreme winter and spring weather conditions that have resulted in above normal deterioration of road surfaces in municipalities across Manitoba. And then it talks about the funding supported there. So on a per capita basis, this is where it's good to have a few extra people in your RM. I think we have over 90 kilometers of roads now and extra money to expand that. Any questions regarding the funding from the province? Just one question from me, Mr. CEO. Is this going to expand the work that we planned and take us farther down the asset management list of roads done, or is this going to fund the roads we've already approved?
No, we're looking at what we're doing, and when we get funding like this, my belief is we move forward and add it to the funding we have. So when our public works executive takes a look at this, we'll come back to council and let you know what we'll be doing here.
That's good news. Thank you. So this is in addition to the almost $1 million council approved for road work this year. So pretty excited about that. Thank you, Mr. CEO. All right, 4.5 personnel and policy. We've got 4.51 request for service reports attached from April to June. And we've got the statistics, the timeline, and the map. Mr. CEO, can I turn this over to you to discuss our request for service?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yes, this is our request for service. I'll just run you through the stats. So on page 16 of your agenda package, It gives you, this is fairly consistent with previous years of where the requests for services are ending up. Now we separated the garbage and recycling, so you're able to get a better look at that. The majority of this year, and we've had an increase this year in requests for service, we could directly link that increase in requests for service, a 72% increase. We can link it directly to the considerable snowfall, and then the extremely wet, second wettest in history, I believe, in Manitoba. Such challenges with weather for everyone, including our public works. So we know residents across the province and in West St. Paul are tackling big issues with water, right from, boy, in early spring. We've had heavy rains. We've been out there. Our PW staff was working weekends for snow, then into rain, and it's continued. We still have jurisdictions in Manitoba that are addressing flooding issues, but we had a 78% increase. So now some of our increase is leading into weeds and grass. So people are saying, what's going on? The weeds are growing tall here. And it sounds like what I'm hearing at home, right? And yeah, the weeds are proliferating really fast. It's a great season for weeds. It's hard for us to get in there because the ground's wet. Will do more damage than good going in there with weeds. So now we're getting calls, in addition to the wet, we're getting calls on weeds, and the grass is growing. It's extremely green and good and growing fast. So we're working very hard on that. We're looking at some solutions, including maybe some weekend work for some of our students, so we can catch up. And otherwise, I don't see any concerns that we can tackle or change within our procedures or the way we do things. It's just we have the most staff on we've ever had. When you see the maps, the areas of concern are the same as usual. We look to where we have new people in the community. So Parkview Point and the trails, they're not generating heavy requests for services. So we were able to link it directly to the weather. I don't think I have anything else. You also have a map in there. I'd like to give kudos though to Karen, who's not new anymore to West St. Paul, but she's done I think Riley started it. She got her request for service up and going. Fabulous job to put this in, and it was always what I call a living animal, right, where it's changing all the time, and we're adjusting. And I think Riley took to point. I was extremely happy with that, and now we have Karen in there, and she's taken it to an even higher level. So I'm happy how our request for service is working. We sent out a number of emails and email blasts to people telling them how to use the request for service. That sort of store-like method of entering your own request for services is increasing. People were told, here's where you go, or here's who you call if you had a request for service. That's what it's there for. So, when you see it, it's working good.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I will go around our council table here and see if there are any questions. Councillor Link, any questions for our CAO?
No, Madam Mayor, Mr. CAO answered the questions that I had in his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Busetti, any questions?
No, just more of a thank you that, it's good to see that you guys were getting the same thing that we're getting with the weeds, the grass is getting high in weird areas. And it's good to hear that you're putting a plan, you're working on a plan to get caught up with this. So it's just something that we can answer people when we're getting the same calls over again. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Prague, any questions?
No question, just a thank you.
for the staff.
And the same for me, no questions, just a thank you. This is really great. We have a lot of people who have moved from the city of Winnipeg, and I don't want to knock our city neighbors, but the process in the city is to call 311, which is their request for service process. And our staff respond, and an average number of days to close service requests is 8 days here in West St. Paul. And when residents come and get a call back immediately from Karen, and their issue is dealt with one way or another within 8 days or so, they're quite shocked coming from the city of how quickly they're able to get through, how quickly somebody responds, the professional service. So I'm really thrilled with that. This is probably the last RFS we'll see before election, and I'd like to say that I was quite pleased that this became a public process and brought to council quarterly through this term, and that this wasn't something previously done. And so our CEO and his staff were always tracking requests for service, and now it's very public and brought to council. So this has been really important for a few things. We've been able to make good budget decisions. So when you ask us for more support for public works and to hire more staff, and we can see that 57% of the issues and complaints and issues of all different kinds through public works are through their department, it justifies spending and makes it easier for us to understand what's needed. And then having greater communication. So when we see that there's been lots of complaints about grass and weeds, and we know it's because of wet weather, we can respond, and your staff send out email blasts and let residents know based on what they hear. So thanks for that. This has been a really positive process, and with every year, we've got more residents understanding the process and submitting directly, skipping the middlemen and going directly to the right department and having those issues addressed. So I'm quite pleased with this, and as with everyone else, Karen's doing a fantastic job. Riley set this up really well, and Karen took the ball from there and has made this really great. So our community knows exactly what's going on. Council knows what's going on with complaints. No secrecy, complete transparency. So thank you for that, Mr. CEO. This is great. All right, our next item on the agenda. I believe that's it. Yeah, that's it for this evening. Moved along really quickly this evening. So we have a council meeting Thursday night. We'll be back with a couple planning matters and agenda for Thursday. And that is our meeting for this evening. Go ahead, Councillor Link.
We also have a special meeting, I see, at 4 o'clock.
Yes. All right, we'll see everybody Thursday at 4. Have a good night.